guys. I'm Rick Dorrington from LexMedia. I am here with Ann and Nicole. Ann is listed as Paul Danforth, but it's really Ann. So, hey guys, welcome. They are from Embody Fitness, and just here to find out a little bit about how you guys are surviving in the COVID-19 shutdown, and what are some things you guys are doing at Embody Fitness.
Yeah, we had a meeting about this probably about 3 weeks ago, when we sort of sensed that there was going to be a big change for our business, and we did a SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities, and strengths with and threats with the COVID-19, and started rolling out remote training probably a week afterwards. And even when Burlington, we were allowed to stay open, we were completely shut down and did everything remotely.
So you guys were a little bit ahead of the curve, it sounds like.
Yeah, we were definitely, well, we have, because our program is health and wellness, we felt it was, it was irresponsible to promote health and wellness and then put our members at risk for something that was, clear, especially after the NBA story came out, that this was pretty serious.
Got it. And so how do these online classes work, and where can people find them?
So we actually are running, on our website, we switched our entire website. So there's a remote training page now. So people can't even go and buy sessions in the studio anymore. Everything's remote. And the members, feelings about the program are also on that page. And it was pretty remarkable, their response. Not only did they say that they're working out more than they were before because it's so convenient to just flip open their computer and join a session. Many of our members have asked to keep this going after the program, after the shutdown's over, which was pretty cool. We started small in our sessions, limiting it to about 3 people, and we found we can move up to 4. And then it was important for our contractors to also, we were so worried about not having checks for them. They've all now been able to run classes. We ran a restorative yoga class on Sunday that had over 10 people in it.
Oh, great.
With individual attention for each person.
Oh, that's amazing. And so are you taking a computer and going into the studio and teaching it, or how are these running?
No, we are, again, safety is our priority. So everybody's running sessions from home. So in the studio, we used to be limited to, a certain number of people in the room at a time. So now we can Anne can run a session at her house. I run a session at my house at the same time, and Paul could run a session at his house. So we are increasing the ability to work with people.
Great, yeah.
Yeah, and every time in the beginning, it was so popular that we had such a long wait list for sessions that the rule of the owner was every time you saw, a wait list, that another owner would pick up a session at the same time, to make sure no member was ever on a wait list. We had sensed that there was a lot of anxiety with our members because there was sort of this fear that, you wait in line and you still might not get it because of this anxiety and stress of the current situation of COVID-19. It sort of became like this toilet paper fear, we called it. And we didn't want them to feel that at Embody. So we promised everybody that you would never be on a wait list. And we have been able to maintain that so far.
That's great. That's amazing. How are you guys? Any tips for promoting just sort of general wellness and mental health as well? I know you guys do the diet and the mental health and the physical. So any tips, tricks, or what are you guys doing to stay sane?
Well, I think the small group training sessions and the community aspect, a lot of people were streaming classes, which meant that you could sort of go in and watch an instructor run a class. And we felt that it was very important for members not to be muted and just to watch us. So we have intentionally taken the mute button off for all our members so they can have that interaction. I think that it's really important right now that we have a voice and people can hear us rather than being locked in a house and feeling isolated. So that, I think, is really important, is having that face-to-face communication. I think, and Anne can attest to this too, one of the best parts that we have seen is we have a lot of older members, like 70 plus, and they were the ones we were really worried about because they're really isolated. And so we would spend sometimes it varied between a half hour and an hour to set them up on Zoom. But they are the most engaged in the sessions and jumping in on boot camp classes and stuff they hadn't done before, because it's so important to keep that face-to-face connection.
Great. And do you want to speak to that a little bit, some of the
Yeah,
mental health aspect, and
yeah,
how are you saying
absolutely.
here?
Yeah, sure. So I think when Nicole was mentioning, just our community is really pulled together, and they really seem to benefit from interacting inside. We're all kind of being told each day, stay away from each other, and it's really hard. Even when you're walking down the street, we're all kind of like moving away from each other, and so this allows everybody to interact safely in their own homes, but not feel isolated, and they can kind of reach out. And it also is kind of increases, who our community members might come in contact with. Like even when we're operating at the studio, they may not have had the opportunity. So there's a few different people that they get to meet, and we do have. A lot more, than just the fitness programs. And we talk about our stress management. And the nutrition piece of it also, of course, goes into, our immune systems and keeping ourselves as healthy as you can be. Bolstering your immune system pretty much means just being as healthy as you can be. There's a lot of like marketing tag words, but it's really just about being as healthy as you can. And so this is what we try to teach our members through all the components. So, hopefully they've got good solid immune systems moving forward. And then, we're also doing guided meditation and breathing exercises because, even if you didn't have stress before, I'm pretty sure you have some now, right? So,
Exactly.
yeah, we're definitely teaching some breathing exercises, which is nice. And I've always kind of incorporated some of those into my stretch classes. But I think just branching out, we're using them a lot more. We need a lot more tools given the circumstances. So it's given me the opportunity to reach deeper into my tool bag of stress management stuff. And I think everybody's really benefiting greatly from that.
Yeah, we also, Ann's running one today. We're doing weekly or bi-weekly cooking classes with members. So we're basing it on what they can get currently with the climate of, what can they order from Whole Foods or what can they order from Wegmans or Wilson Farms. And we're basing recipes on that. And then I think in our last one, we had about, 7 people all sat around while they were in our kitchen. I did the first one, Ann's doing this one, and asked questions. And then we talked like, okay, so if you can't get any chicken breast because it's all sold out, this is how you manage it. And they all came with pads of paper and notes. And that's not something we had done before in the past. That was a new service that we offered based on the climate of the COVID-19 crisis.
That's really interesting. What are you guys recommending for diet and stuff like that, or things to keep? I know hoarding is never a good idea, but
Well,
what are just some quick things to have on hand, and maybe some,
I'm gonna do the lifestyle piece of it, and Ann's gonna go to the science piece of it. But I've been talking, and I text every time I get to Trader Joe's. There is no ice cream or chocolate anywhere. And in fact, I texted Paul and Ann when I was there. I'm like, there's only ice cream left is at Berman's. Because people don't know that there's a little back corner of ice cream. That's how bad things are. And I think that you can do that for a short period of time. And I totally get this sort of comfort eating. But when that becomes, if this goes on longer, which it looks like it will, that's a dangerous pattern of behavior so when the doors open and when Ken leave our house, it's not just about the weight gain that's they call it the COVID-19, that instead of the freshman 19, they're calling it a COVID-19, that everyone's going to gain 19 pounds.
I haven't heard that yet. That's
I'm more worried that they're going to end up and then they can't see their doctor because we can't get in for our regular appointments. It is a dangerous combination of a medical system that might be stressed right now, but when this is over in 3 months, it's going to be really stressed again with unhealthy eating, inactivity because we're afraid to go outside. And Ann, can you elaborate?
Absolutely. So just to sort of dovetail on where you left off, I think we're going to see an uptick in exacerbation of chronic diseases and things like that. I mean, it's very challenging to be in your own home We're constantly, snacking, and you're right. As far as going in and doing your shopping, I went in there. I'm like, yep, there's any foods that we typically promote are absolutely available in this store. All the fresh fruits and vegetables are there, plenty. So fear not. And so some of the things that you could stock up on, that I did stock up on, may not be the things that we would always recommend. And I think that's what you were asking about, Rick. Like, what would be a couple of different things that we would grab? So out of habit, and also because I have teenagers, if it was just me, I don't know that I would have purchased a 25-pound bag of rice, but I did because I have teenagers. And the rice keeps fairly well. But I got a lot of dried legumes, which I do use fairly frequently anyway, that I use in an Instapot to kind of cook. So I have some dried goods with the legumes. I got some salmon and tuna in cans just in case. Those things keep frozen vegetables. I will say frozen vegetables were completely sold out. So I guess people maybe went with the frozen. So I'd keep some frozen veggies around as well. But we are allowed to go to the store, but if you are, limited, you want to just make a list for sure. And Nicole and I always, when we do our plans, we always have a shopping list for people. So if we're saying like, here's what you're going to be eating this week, we like to create a list for that. Go to the store with a list so that you don't have to go back multiple times. And if you forget something, forget it to the next week if you can. So those are just a couple of tips to grab some things at the store, and hopefully you don't have to go too frequently.
Beautiful. And last question, anything people can do at home to go less stir crazy, like quick exercise you guys recommend, burpees or anything like that?
I would definitely not do a burpee without
burpees. Okay.
Without a trainer watching your back.
That's good to know.
It is like the most dangerous exercise to do alone, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, I'm glad I asked.
Yeah. It's interesting because I sort of joke, out walking right now doesn't feel incredibly safe because there isn't a lot of, there's a joke that we had, I watched a Trader Joe's with my husband, and the entire time I kept screaming to strangers, 6 feet, people, 6 feet. And he was so embarrassed. On the way back, he walked 6 feet behind me and he goes, 6 feet. Like, I'm fine. So even walking isn't like a great activity. We have told everybody in our program to start by meditating 1 minute a day. That is the easiest thing I think that we could do. That's not going to injure you. And especially when you go and you start around 4 o'clock, when you start craving sugar and maybe wine a little bit earlier than you should be, instead of grabbing it, to meditate for 1 minute. That's my suggestion. Ann, do you have anything?
Love that.
Yeah, that's it. I think, I'm big on the 1 minute mindfulness every single day. And then, if you are finding it's a little bit challenging, for in the afternoon, absolutely right before, doesn't mean that you're not going to get the snack or whatever, but you have a chance, you give yourself a minute to kind of reset. The other thing I would recommend for people to do is we're spending an awful lot of time hunched over technology. So even just standing up and doing a full body stretch, reaching up to the ceiling with your hands, maybe just, bending your knees, reach down for your toes, just so you get a little bit of blood moving, even sometimes setting alarm. The one day this week, we were just trying to knock out a whole bunch of stuff. I was over the computer for a long time, and I was like, wow, I feel terrible, and I'm fortunate that I don't need to be seated and bending over a computer, most of the time at work. But it can take a toll. So just try to get up, set an alarm for at least, once an hour, take a little mental break, maybe do your 1 minute meditation and get a full body stretch in there just to get some blood pumping.
I do have to say, I was just thinking, I had a session this morning with one of our members, and we took one of the workouts that we did is I took out a deck of cards and gave an assignment to each card. So for example, hearts were sit-ups, diamonds were squats. So we went through the deck, and it takes about 30 minutes. And we did a ton of side lunges and squats by the end. And she said at the end, she's going to have like a COVID-19 butt. That's going to be like amazing. So it doesn't have to be miserable. And that's a great activity to do with your family. So everybody does the squats together or the sit-ups together, and it's called a deck of cards workout. I think that's a really fun one if you're sort of sitting around with everybody.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, guys. That was so helpful. Where can people find out more? Your website or Facebook?
Yeah, we have, so you go to embodysthelifestyle.net, and you can go right onto our remote training program and sort of see what people are saying about it. I think we're going to start running a special on Monday for all new members, because I think it's so intimidating to say I'm gonna lose weight, and that's not what the program's about, but to give people an opportunity to try it starting on Monday.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, guys. That was so helpful. Stay safe and good luck.
Rick.
All right.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, stay safe. Have a great
You as
day,
well.
guys.
Have a good day,
All
guys.
right.